Welcome to Tinnacity Talks, where real people share real stories about the best and brightest in mobile field service. I'm your host, Katie Duvall, also known to the industry as Katie from Kentucky. And today we're headed across the globe, at least virtually, to the beautiful shores of New Zealand. For over 70 years, Clark has been a powerhouse in the South Pacific, bringing big names like Bobcat, Devlon, and Omega to the dirt and the docks. But what really sets them apart in the field service world is their uptime, all the time philosophy. They support it with a massive fleet of mobile service vehicles and a team of technicians that essentially are the first responders in the industrial world. Here to tell us how they do it is Clark's very own National Operations Manager, Sheena Diviney. Welcome to the show, Sheena.
Thank you for having me.
Clark has a deep history in New Zealand. Now that you've integrated Tinnacity into your workflow, how has it changed maybe the vibe in the office compared to the old manual system you were using before?
The more I thought about it, the more I realized that with our manual process, we had made it as efficient as we could make it. But at some point, a manual process just doesn't cut it. We were getting quite bogged down with the paperwork. Where is this? Where is that? I gave you the job card. Can I have it back? What does this mean? I don't understand that. But it would just become like this build of stress that would just accumulate pretty much from week 2 of the month, that you're like, oh, we're falling behind. We got to keep up. And then the texts are like, I gave you that. Leave me alone. I just want to do my job. Whereas now that is definitely gone, because everything is there on Tinnacity. We can see the flow, we can see what the tech has done, we can see whether parts have been returned, if an order is on the job. So you can take that breath and answer your friend or your colleague and say, yeah, I can help you right now. It's not a big deal that whereas we're always counting down because there was this mountain of paper sitting on your desk. I think that has probably been the biggest thing I noticed among all the branches. We have breathing room to actually do the job. It's made things a lot easier from that regard. And I think our relationships, our work relationships have improved because of that. So we're not as snappy with each other.
I love that you share that. There's nothing like moving from controlled chaos to a system that actually lets you breathe, but also it enhances the work relationships between you and your colleagues. It makes you more productive, communicate better, just help lift each other up or help out when somebody needs a hand, because at the end of the day, you're all shooting for the same goal, right?
Yeah. And that's it. I think the more knowledge we get of new software and what's coming out there, the manual process automatically kind of brings in a resentment if we're not moving forward with technology and utilizing the tools out there. It just becomes a boiling pot of emotion and frustration and stress, which gets hard to manage month on and month on.
Before Tinnacity, what was the hardest thing for you to see in real time regarding the technicians out in the field, and how is that visibility different today?
With the manual process, there was a lot of he said, she said. I gave you that job card. No, you didn't. So now we can see that every single time the job is open before tech even goes. So having that visibility, we know exactly where that tech is going. If he gets a call on the road from a customer that want him to pop in, he just lets us know. We can create that job and have it all ready for him. That process of ensuring that all the jobs are there, they're scheduled, we know who's doing them, that visibility is great. Now we can really see, all right, we've this much downtime at this time of the month, let's start working on that to try and lower that and push. So we can see a lot more of the work, like how it flows, how it ebbs and flows throughout the month, throughout the quarter, throughout the year. Like we've only been with Tinnacity for 3 months and I'm already seeing a few of that. So I can't imagine what it'll be like after a year of data. Like that visibility is like gold dust, because we can plan our resources. It just becomes more manageable. Having that communication all within one place. So within the job, every step of the way, we have comments, we have notes, we can see, we can step in, we can step out. People can take leave without going, oh, I've got to empty everything in my head onto a piece of paper. And then we're going, can't actually read that writing. So yeah, we're winging it. It's very hard to put it in words how big a change it actually is. We've just eased into it so well, and it's worked straight off the bat. We're still learning how much we can actually see with Tinnacity.
It's just amazing how much faster you can move when you're not flying blind. And you guys, even being new customers or clients and getting to lay everything out, and you can actually start planning for the future. That's what I hear you saying, not just falling behind and playing catch up, but you can start to see everything months out and plan for it.
Once we really get into it, that will be a huge plus for us, because we've got seasonal work with certain customers, and then the economy throws a big spanner into the works. The ports may slow down, so machines aren't coming in. Like, there's so many factors every single day. I think with Tinnacity, we can get a lot better with proactive planning and preparing for all the seasonal changes that we get here. I really like how they can respond quite quickly. Even in the implementation, there was one where I was like, oh, you know what would be really good if I could name the photos, the mandatory photos. So that meant they were like, yeah, this one has to be the hour meter and this one has to be the serial number. And they were like, Tina was like, oh, that's a good idea. And I was like, oh, I was just asking. And then 2 weeks later, she goes, there you go. And I'm like, wow. Like, it's not often that you can get that response quite quickly from software. And that wee little mandatory named photos is saving our asses so much in our warranty process. It's like, oh, it's bliss. Nobody can complain now. We're like, well, you can't close the job until you take the photo. And they're like, oh, yeah, I need to do that. The accountability with Tinnacity has improved a great deal as well, which is interesting because the techs have basically just risen to it. By setting it all in place via Tinnacity, the bar is not changing on them, the requirements. So if we have to make a change to the requirements, we're able to make the change in Tinnacity, and then we explain it to the techs and they're like, oh, okay. Whereas previously, we'd put out an email, they wouldn't read it, it wouldn't make any change to their day until we come back to them and go, oh, we asked you for this, but you didn't supply it. It just makes it simpler for them to accept the changes, I think, because it's designed
designed for them, right? The way that they are used to their normal tasks, just more in a digital format, hopefully making communication easier. Sheena, you briefly spoke on the customer support that our team provides. I think it's one thing that sets us apart from other SaaS companies in the industry. We want to provide a white glove support and hopefully work with your technicians one-on-one, or with you guys specifically. That was a virtual experience. Was there any resistance with the way that they were trained? Do you think because it was virtual, or do you think it's such a big change from what they were used to?
In my line of work, I do present a lot of change. And each time I do a project, I learn from the previous one. I was very mindful of that and keeping the techs up to date. But I should also explain that I had pretty strict criteria on what I wanted and needed for the techs in their field service app, because I had really analyzed the process. I'd found all their pain points. I'd worked through it with them. I tried to eliminate as much as I could. And it basically got to the point where I can't eliminate anymore. It just is what it is unless we move to a new software. So they were like, well, where is our field service app? This is becoming unattainable. We can't keep dealing with this. And I'm like, yep, I'm working on it. I think I found one. And once I did find Tinnacity, it did move quite quickly. And as a result, they were ready for it. They were ready for this app. And so that feedback in the implementation stage meant that when we started onboarding and switched to training, they had the assurance that we'd done the work, that we were serious about this product, that we were serious about the software and getting it right from the word go. Yeah, they came to the table and were like, okay, let's do this. It was really good. A lot of the time they'd come and go, oh, but can it do this? And I'm like, yes. And it can also do this. And they're like, oh. I'm quite proud of the techs actually on how well they accepted this. But as I said, it was made easier by the fact they really wanted it. And it was almost like they knew that we had to move to this stage to be able to to progress and to keep relevant within the industry.
I praise you on effort behind the scenes, right? Trying to simplify what they already had and then having to realize we got to switch this right now. And you're telling them you're working on this. It's going to happen.
From day one, I knew exactly what to expect. Tina had laid it all out. This is the steps we need to follow. This is how we need to get you ready. I've been working on our ERP as well to make sure that whatever software I'd gone with, that our data as tidy as I could have it, that we were keeping on top of that. And so that made the implementation quite easy. And I was able to really focus on the process, the best practice, and then testing and trying to break the process. I spent a lot of time if I was a tech, trying to skirt around this, how would I do it? I was pretty much trying to make it unbreakable. And then when it came to training, we had the day and a half, the first day for the administrators, back office, parts and service. And it really kind of said to them, we are not messing about with this. We want to get it right, and we want to get it right straight away. And so, 12 o'clock on the Tuesday, they walked out the door and started using it. And that was it, like a day and a half of training. I think also having Tina do the training was another kind of, they've got an outsider. We have this person from America who's giving up her Sunday, because I made it very obvious that this was very special. I'm really proud of the team, actually, and how they stepped up and took it on board. But then, as I said, they wanted it and they love it.
You guys talk about uptime all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming like speed is key there. How would you say Tinnacity's helped the team work smarter to cut down the empty miles or wasted time between jobs?
There's limited wasted time. The fact that they have to have the job before they can go anywhere, because they have to clock onto it as soon as whether they're traveling or they're immediately working. There's no excuses for hanging around. I was waiting for the job card, or you haven't given me the address. We have seen a reduction in downtime, more visibility, productivity side of things, which is great. They realize that we are more organized. Therefore, they're automatically becoming more organized as well. The excuses are slowly leaving. And then when it comes back to the service admin, it's like, it's right there in the workflow. It's on you now. The techs have done their job. You only go back to them if you have a question or you don't understand something. So we can see everything there, and we can see where the delays are, the bottlenecks, but we can manage them a lot faster. And so from the customer point of view, we're able to respond a lot faster. They're not getting an invoice 2-3 weeks later, or even a month or anything later. They're getting it within the week that they do the job. In all aspects of the department, it just has improved it. It just gives you time to breathe. I think time to enjoy the job, the actual true job of what the roles are, not to do the paperwork. Because I used to say a lot in the manual process, hey, if you don't do your time card and you don't do your job card, you're basically just a volunteer. And they would get that. But now with Tinnacity, because it's all part of the job, there's no delay in anything.
Well, look at them now. They're clocking in and clocking out.
Yes, they are.
Was the friction you spoke about, was that between the technicians and the back office, or was that another department?
So you'd have friction between the techs and the back office because I gave you the job card. No, you didn't. That type of stuff. And because it's either a phone call or an email that can get lost, there's friction between the parts and service. There'll always be friction there because parts don't supply parts fast enough, and service we're like, I want to get the job done. It's all there and it's tied in with the job. So the tech can review all that and go, okay, it's under control. Whereas previously it was like, what's happening with this job? Have you got the parts? Are they on the shelf? How long have they been sitting there? It's madness, really, when I think of what we had to put up with. That is basically human nature, but we can design a lot of that out of the process. And so it just flows.
For other service leaders that are out there who are on the fence about making the jump to Tinnacity, what advice are you going to give them?
It has to be done. I think in this day and age, with technology moving forward and with the business and economies, we just need to be as efficient and as productive as we can be. We can't leave it with, that's just the way it is. That's the way it's always been. That school of thought isn't going to cut it anymore. You just got to do it. I think that's the big thing. You got to take the leap of faith and just really think about what you want from it and what you need, the pain points and what is failing for you right now and how you can fix that. You need to put the work into it, but it is worth it. I think time is a huge cost to any business, and that is where you really see it. It improves the work relationships in the branches because they can see the collaboration a lot more. It removes silos between departments. It shows that the communication is there. All software has to also keep improving. So there's going to be continuously changes, but so do businesses. So you just got to all work together and move forward.
Yeah, I think that's some straight talk advice you have there. Sometimes the biggest risk is staying exactly where you are and not progressing, not changing, being resistant to what's eventually going to happen anyway.
Yeah, another company in America that's a customer of yours, I've been in discussions with them because we share the same ERP, and they were like, hey, so we've moved to this company, Tinnacity. Do you want a demo? Our parent company in Clark, Australia, I was like, my colleague over there, I said, hey, we really need to look at this. And he goes, yep, set it up. Honest to God, it moved pretty fast after that. It just, I think because it connected with our ERP, the fact that it removed a massive amount of double entry was a great big tick for us.
Sheena, what was your very first job and how old were you?
My very first job was in my hometown in Ireland, a fast food restaurant that was called Supermax. I could only work certain hours, so I must have been 14, 15. And my whole reason for getting a job that summer, because my mum didn't want me to, she was like, you're too young, just enjoy life, was because I wanted to do a school trip that year. And my mum had gone, no. And I was like, but if I work and save the money, can I go? And she was like, yeah. So I did. And I think that was part of my traveling bug and how I eventually ended up in New Zealand. Yeah, I've done a lot of different jobs, and it's always kind of being with an end goal in sight. Oh, I want to go to this country, or I want to do this. Rolling up my sleeves and getting the work done doesn't bother me. There's always a reward at the end if you set it up right.
100%. How do you unwind? You know, when you're not working, what's something you enjoy to do that helps you reset?
I love going for walks. New Zealand has very good weather, and so I can be out any time of the day, really, hanging out with my kids and reading a book. I can get lost in a book to the point that my kids are like, hello, are you even there? And listening to music. I love listening to music.
Awesome. Is there any book in the last, few months that you've read that you would recommend to anybody listening or watching this?
I have actually just reread Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I decided this year to reread it because I just wanted to make a few changes to the way I work and things at home. And that's a favorite of mine. I think I'll be rereading that every year. I've been a bit slack with my reading recently, so I'm trying to focus on that this year. Some of the books that have been recommended to me.
Well, I'm always looking for my next trip. I love to travel. If you could hop on a plane tomorrow to any destination in the world that you haven't been to yet, where is Sheena headed?
Oh God, that list is really long.
What's at the top?
If I'm brutally honest, my husband and I have talked about it would be amazing if we could do a road trip across America. That's kind of like a very far out there dream that we'd love to do when the kids are older. Take in as many states as we can. We've even actually planned it. We've discussed it and go, oh, we could go here and that. As I said, I have traveled a lot, but I haven't been to America.
Are you guys talking about just buying a Winnebago and putting the kids inside and driving east to west coast?
Oh, would we bring the kids or just leave them behind? They're pretty young at the moment. Yeah, we're not sure. I mean, we've planned where we want to go, how we do it. We're not too sure. Touch back with me in 10, 15 years and see if I manage to do it.
At your 30-year anniversary at Clark Equipment, I'm going to reach out and see where you've been. Open mic. Is there a specific success story or anything about your experience with Tinnacity where you'd like to see the functionalities or new features go in the future?
I had one service administrator in particular who has said to me, "Oh, I don't like new systems. I don't like change. I'm very nervous about this." A month and a bit in, he was like, "I really like it. It's really good. The logic of the system is very straightforward. It's user friendly. And then the fact that you've got that knowledge base there and it's updated regularly. You have the feature of telling us which version we're on, what is new. I mean, you're just open about what you're doing. There's nothing hidden, which is great. And there's a reason for everything. I really like the fact that Tinnacity is moving forward with businesses. They're not going, "Oh yeah, here's your software, see you later." It's not that. They're like, "Oh, so what can we improve?" And it starts a conversation, and the conversation leads to a feature that hopefully benefits lots of different customers.
Yeah, it feels like a partnership, right?
Yes, I definitely, and I felt that from day dot. It was like we're working together on this. And yeah, I feel like the collaboration between both companies has been great. All right, thank you so much. Great rest of the Monday. Guess what? Tuesday is awesome.
Sheena, thank you so much for joining us today. You know, they say a ship is only as good as its captain, and it's obvious that Clark Equipment is in great hands with leadership that isn't afraid to ditch the old paper trail for a better way of doing things. To our viewers, if you're tired of flying blind and Sheena's roadmap for better communication struck a chord, go check out the amazing work they're doing at Clark Equipment New Zealand, or reach out to us at Tinnacity to start your own journey. Until next time, keep your head up, efficiency high, and stay tenacious. See you on the next episode of Tinnacity Talks.